It was May 1911, well into the new century, not even Edwardian anymore, now into the reign of King George V. At another time, Daniel would have enjoyed riding in the black taxi. He thoroughly approved of them. But this could have been a vegetable cart for all the pleasure it gave him. He stared out the window at the street. He didn't want to talk to the constable. He was choked with fear, emotion, memories of Kitteridge, who had been in the law chambers several years longer than Daniel, and knew so much more. He was excellent in court. Once he began to argue a case, all his nervous tension was mastered, and he had flashes of positive brilliance. Only Daniel knew he probably had odd socks on, and had been too absent-minded to eat breakfast. They had solved cases together, complicated and emotional ones, as well as simple legal arguments. They had shared successes and failures, long hours researching into the night. There had been one or two dangerous and tragic cases, and people he would never forget. The last thing Daniel had felt toward Kitteridge was anger because he was late. And now he felt fear. What was the final thing Daniel had said before parting? Please heaven it was not something he would regret forever, now that it was too late to take it back. They were caught in traffic, as if to illustrate his fears, stuck amidst a mix of automobiles, horse-drawn vehicles, barrows, drays, and hansom cabs. He was in a hurry, impatient to get there, and yet he had to endure crawling through the mass of engines, the shouting of insults. He fidgeted in his seat. The constable glanced at him but said nothing. He made as if to say sorry, then changed his mind. This must be one of the worst parts of this man's job, having to fetch people to identify the dead body of someone they knew, even loved. At last, they were there. The cab stopped, and the constable paid the fare and led Daniel across the pavement and through the doorway of the morgue. The smell of it enveloped him immediately. The carbolic and lye caught in his nostrils and the back of his throat. He could still smell death here. It lingered long after the corpses were removed. A morgue attendant appeared from behind one of the doors, closing it softly behind him. "This way, sir," the constable said, glancing at Daniel anxiously. Daniel nodded without speaking, knowing the poor man was doing his best. He looked about 25, near Daniel's own age. They walked side by side and passed through a doorway at the end of the passage and into an anteroom. And then Daniel saw it. It was like a blow that knocked all the air out of his body. There was a boldly checked coat hanging up on a railing. There couldn't be two coats so ugly in exactly that loud, clanging check. Kitteridge had just bought it, and Daniel had been very rude, calling it an eyesore, and so it was. But he would give anything now to be able to take that back. It had been meant carelessly teasing. Kitteridge had little sense of style, and had trouble getting decent clothes that fit him. Daniel felt a pull on his arm. It was the constable, gripping him as if to hold him up in case he collapsed. Daniel wanted to shake him off, but the grip was too firm. Unprotestingly, he was led into the morgue itself. How could people work in a place like this? Everybody had once been living. Somebody's child or brother, or wife, or friend. The police surgeon smiled at him grimly. Daniel had seen the man before, but couldn't remember his name. It did not matter now. "Thank you, sir," the man said gently. "Just look at his face, if you don't mind. Are you ready?" No, he was not ready. He never would be. He steadied himself. He must not give in to emotion. "Yes." The surgeon pulled the sheet back. It was stained with blood in patches all the way down. Daniel forced himself to look. He knew the face, in spite of the knife slashes across the cheek and nose, and another over the neck, dark with congealed blood. It was not Kitteridge, although he was about the same height as well as Daniel could judge of a man lying down, but Jonah Drake, one of the senior lawyers in his own chambers, one of the cleverest in court. Not a particularly likable man, but one with skills Daniel couldn't deny. In fact, reluctantly, he had admired.